Our neighbors have been having pool parties in our pool for years whilst we were away. A few years ago, my husband and I purchased a house with a pool. Now we are acquainted with most of our neighbors, but definitely not close friends with any of them. They all seem nice, but well, just don't have much in common other where we live. Next door to the right is a family of 6, twin daughters attending the local university, high school-age son, and a young elementary school-age daughter, maybe 1st or 2nd grade, and the parents. Now normally we open the pool in early May and keep it open until the end of October. But this year our weather was off and we had a very cool and very wet month of May, and then June went straight to 100+ temperatures. I am currently on a medication that makes it difficult for me to tolerate being in the sun and heat for an extended time. Plus, we have been helping 2 extended family members who are having health issues. So because of this, we haven't had our pool opened yet this year. Normally we go to the family lake house for a week during each of the 3 major holidays. But we didn't go for Memorial Day because there was flooding around the lake this year, and because a family member was just discharged from the hospital yesterday, and July 4th being a Thursday this year, we decided to stay home this week and be available to help this family member. Now, several times in June, the little girl next door has seen either my husband or myself outside, and she has asked when we are opening the pool. We first told her maybe later, but the last time, yesterday, she asked, and I said we are probably just not going to open it this year, and she started crying. Now we have never had any of the neighbors over to use our pool, so I didn't understand why she was crying over us not opening our pool. Well, I spoke with the neighbor on the left later, and apparently our neighbors on the right have been having a small family party at our pool every 4th of July when we are gone. They have always cleaned up really well afterwards, and because we have scheduled pool maintenance and weekly yard service occasionally, things are moved around in our yard, and we never thought much about it. The neighbor on the left thought we had given the other neighbors permission to use our pool. We did give them permission to retrieve any balls or toys that ended up in our yard, but never permission to use our pool, especially when we are not at home. We have a special latch on the gate, and my husband did show the neighbor how to open the gate to retrieve his kids' toys. So now my husband, who loves gadgets, is going to have several more cameras installed around the exterior of our house, covering the gate and pool area, and have the gate latch made where we can grant remote access for the pool service and yardmen. Luckily, we have a friend who does cameras and home automation systems. I'm annoyed our neighbors have been using our pool without permission, but my husband is happy I am letting him get more gadgets around the house. Now do we confront the neighbors and let them know we know they have been using our pool, or just wait and see if they say anything about our new security cameras? Update 1. I didn't expect this to blow up like it has. Certainly didn't expect over 1,000 comments. I have tried to read them all, and some were very creative and amusing to read. First of all, we don't want to hurt anyone or alienate our neighbors. We just don't want people using our pool without permission, and we don't want the liability associated with this activity. A few things I feel I need to clarify. Yes, our backyard is fully fenced in with 2 gates. One in back is double locked from the inside. The side gate on the side of garage nearest the neighbors in question has a double latch that you have to reach over the top and find not 1 but 2 releases to open the gate. There is also an auto close that automatically closes the gate and latches it. I personally can't open the gate from the outside of the fence because I can't reach over that far to reach the 2 latches. The previous owner put this in, and it has worked well for our yard crew and the pool maintenance people. We do have some cameras, a doorbell camera, and a camera over our garage area. The garage camera picks up if someone goes towards the gate from the front, but we didn't want to invade our neighbors' privacy by recording their side garage door and gate to their backyard. We even shared the camera angle with them because we didn't want them to be concerned about us recording their children or their coming and going. I guess we were more concerned about their privacy than they were about ours. Anyway, the update, Thursday, July 4th morning, I was loading a few things in my vehicle to take to my cousin who just got out of the hospital. Neighbor husband, who has been gone a lot for work recently, saw me and came over and asked if I was getting a late start going to the lake. I let him know that we were staying home because we are helping my cousin who just got out of the hospital. He asked if we were going to be home all weekend. I said yes, one or both of us be around all weekend. He quickly wished me a happy 4th and went home. I went back in to grab my purse and tell my husband about the conversation with the neighbor before I left. When I got home, our friend Mike was there. Mike does security cameras and home automation systems, gadgets, and my husband loves gadgets. Mike and my husband have a plan for multiple cameras and several gadgets, some of which involve us going ahead and having the pool opened. I agreed to all but one of the new cameras and almost all of the gadgets. I think husband put some in the plan knowing he would have to give up a few of them. Mike also suggested talking to our homeowner's insurance agent because we might be able to get some discounts with the security upgrades. So on Friday the 5th, Tom, our insurance guy, comes over, and Mike is back, and he has a drone to help him find the best camera positions. Really, I think he just wanted to show off his gadget. So husband, Mike and Tom are outside and all around the house and occasionally inside. I look outside every so often, and at different times other neighbors have come outside and down to our end of the street. So neighbors want to know what is going on, so husband tells them we are concerned that someone or several people may have used our pool without our permission while we were not home. It turns out that 2 different neighbors had witnessed some friends of the neighbor children come over last year, and they and the neighbor twins had gone into our backyard. One neighbor even asked the girls, and they claimed that we let them come over all the time and use our pool. So at this point, husband and Tom discuss this, and Tom says we should send a registered letter to the neighbors rescinding our permission from entering our fenced-in backyard. So before Mike and Tom left, the neighbors on the right, pool party neighbors, come home, both husband and wife. My husband asks to talk to them, and with Mike and Tom as witnesses, he tells them that for insurance reasons, we are rescinding our permission for them or any member of their family or guests to enter our fenced-in backyard, and we will be sending a registered letter stating this as requested by our insurance. Husband never accused them or their children of using our pool, but said we had reason to believe that in the past, our pool had been used without our permission. He did say that we had reason to believe that their older children might be friends with someone who has been in our pool. Husband also told them that we are changing the gate to have an automated lock and cameras will be installed around the pool area. He also assured them that we avoid the cameras pointed at their windows or backyard. Husband indicated that we were taking these measures to hopefully lower our homeowners' insurance rates. Husband said that they exchanged a few looks between them, but they said they understood and appreciated the heads up. Update 2. Well folks, things have definitely escalated since the 4th of July. After my husband Mike and Tom finished setting up the cameras and gadgets, we thought we had everything under control. Little did we know that the fun was just beginning. The following week was fairly quiet. The cameras were working perfectly, and we didn't notice any unusual activity around the pool. My husband was like a kid with a new toy, constantly checking the camera feeds and tweaking the settings. Our insurance guy, Tom, got us a nice discount for the upgraded security system, so we were feeling pretty good about our decision. However, things took an unexpected turn on the evening of July 12th. My husband and I were sitting in the living room, enjoying a quiet evening, when we got an alert from one of the new cameras. Someone was trying to open the gate to our backyard. We quickly pulled up the camera feed on my husband's phone and saw 2 of the neighbor's kids, the twins, fiddling with the gate. Before we could even react, the camera's speaker system, another one of Mike's fancy gadgets, activated, and my husband's pre-recorded message boomed out. "This area is under surveillance. Please leave immediately." The twins jumped back in surprise and quickly ran back to their house. We thought that would be the end of it, but the next day, things got even more interesting. Around noon, we got a call from the neighbor, let's call him John, who lives on the left side of our house. John was clearly upset and informed us that he had seen someone climbing over our back fence the previous night. Apparently, it was one of the twins again, trying to sneak into our yard. This time, she was successful. We quickly checked the camera footage and saw her quietly slipping into the pool for a midnight swim. The footage showed her staying for about an hour before sneaking back out the same way she came in. My husband was furious and wanted to confront the parents immediately, but I convinced him to wait and think it over. After some deliberation, we decided to take a different approach. We printed out some stills from the footage and left them in the neighbor's mailbox with a note saying, "We know you've been using our pool without permission. Please stop immediately, or we will involve the authorities." The next day we got an unexpected visit from the twins' parents. They were livid and accused us of spying on their kids. They claimed that their children had permission to use our pool, which of course was a lie. We calmly explained that we never gave such permission and showed them the footage as proof. They reluctantly apologized, but seemed more annoyed than remorseful. A few days later, things took another bizarre twist. We started noticing some strange activity on our cameras during the early morning hours. At first, it was just small movements, like someone quickly darting through the yard. But then we saw it, a group of teenagers sneaking into our pool area around 2 a.m. We immediately called the police and reported the trespassers. The police arrived quickly and caught the kids in the act. It turns out, they were friends of the twins who had been invited over for a late-night swim. The parents were called, and the kids were given a stern warning. We thought that would finally put an end to the saga, but we were wrong. The next morning, we found a note taped to our front door. It was from the twins, apologizing for their behavior and asking if they could still use the pool just one last time before the end of summer. The nerve. My husband was ready to call the police again, but I decided to take a different approach. I wrote a long letter back, explaining why we couldn't allow them to use the pool, detailing the liability issues and the importance of respecting boundaries. I also mentioned that any further attempts to use our pool without permission would result in us pressing charges. We delivered the letter in person, and the twins' parents were visibly embarrassed. They promised us that their children would not bother us again, and that they would ensure no one trespassed on our property. For a while, things were peaceful. The cameras showed no unusual activity, and we started to relax, thinking the drama was finally over. But just when we thought it was safe, another twist emerged. One evening, while reviewing the camera footage, we noticed something odd. There was a shadowy figure lurking near the pool, but it didn't look like one of the neighborhood kids. It was an adult. The figure moved quickly, almost stealthily, around the pool area, and then disappeared into the night. We were puzzled and a bit unnerved. Who could it be? We decided to stay up late the next few nights, hoping to catch the mysterious intruder in the act. On the third night, our patience paid off. Around midnight, we saw the figure again. This time, my husband and I quietly slipped outside and confronted the person. To our shock, it was one of the twins' parents, the mother. She was trying to retrieve a phone her daughter had accidentally dropped in our pool during one of their unauthorized swims. Caught red-handed, she apologized profusely and explained the situation. We were both angry and amused. It was clear that they were embarrassed and desperate to avoid any further trouble. We let her retrieve the phone but made it clear that this was the last straw. Any further trespassing would result in legal action. After that night, the pool remained undisturbed, and we finally felt like we had regained control of our property. The security system had proven its worth, and my husband got his fill of gadgets. We learned a valuable lesson about setting clear boundaries and the importance of communication. As summer came to a close, we noticed that the neighbors kept their distance, and the twins avoided eye contact whenever they saw us. It was a bit awkward, but we preferred the peace and quiet over the constant worry about who might be using our pool. We've decided to keep the pool open next summer, but we'll be sure to have a firm discussion with all our neighbors about respecting our property. And if anyone dares to cross the line again, well, we're ready for them with our cameras, gadgets, and a newfound resolve to protect what's ours. Update 3. Summer ended with a sense of relief and a hint of lingering tension with our neighbors. The twins avoided us, and the parents seemed to keep their distance. My husband was enjoying his gadgets and security system, but we both felt the need to mend fences, literally and figuratively. A month later, as fall settled in, we decided to host a neighborhood barbecue. It was an attempt to rebuild some trust and camaraderie with our neighbors. We invited everyone, including the family next door. Surprisingly, they accepted the invitation. The day of the barbecue, we set up tables and chairs in our backyard, lit the grill, and put out a spread of food. Neighbors started arriving, bringing side dishes and drinks. The atmosphere was relaxed, and people were mingling and chatting. It felt good to see everyone coming together. The family next door arrived a bit late, looking slightly apprehensive. We greeted them warmly, and they seemed relieved. The twins hung back, but their younger siblings ran off to play with other kids in the neighborhood. At one point, John, the father from the other side, came over to me with a drink in hand. He leaned in and said, "You know, I think you did the right thing with those cameras. It's not just about the pool, it's about setting boundaries." I nodded, feeling validated. As the evening went on, the ice seemed to melt. The twins eventually joined in the fun, and I even saw them talking and laughing with my husband. Their parents approached us and apologized once more for the trouble over the summer. They explained that their kids had been desperate for some fun, especially with all the restrictions from the pandemic, and that they should have asked for permission. We accepted their apology and reassured them that we understood. But, my husband added with a smile, next time, just ask. We're not unreasonable people. The rest of the barbecue was a success. People stayed late, chatting and laughing under the string lights we'd hung up. As the evening wound down, my husband and I felt a sense of accomplishment. Maybe things would be different next summer. The next few months were quiet. The cameras showed nothing but the usual comings and goings of our neighbors. Winter arrived, and the pool was closed, covered, and secure. We settled into a routine, enjoying the peace. But as spring approached, we started thinking about the pool again. We decided to open it early, hoping to avoid any issues like last year. My husband had the pool maintenance team come out, and we got everything ready for the new season. A week before Memorial Day, we received an unexpected package. It was from our neighbors. Inside was a note and a beautifully crafted wooden sign that read, "Welcome to our pool," with our family name engraved. The note expressed their gratitude for our understanding and a hope for a fresh start. We were touched by the gesture. That weekend, we invited them over for a small gathering by the pool. This time, it was on our terms, and with our blessing. The twins and their younger siblings joined us, and it felt good to see everyone enjoying the pool together. As the summer progressed, the pool became a hub for neighborhood gatherings, but always with clear boundaries and respect. The cameras were still there, a silent reminder of the past, but they never had to catch anyone sneaking in again. In late July, we decided to take a short trip to the lake house. Before we left, we had a conversation with our neighbors. We let them know we'd be gone and asked if they could keep an eye on our property. They agreed and assured us they'd respect our space. When we returned, everything was just as we left it. No signs of unauthorized pool parties or intrusions. It seemed our efforts to communicate and set boundaries had paid off. The rest of the summer was peaceful. We hosted a few more gatherings, always inviting the neighbors and fostering a sense of community. My husband continued to enjoy his gadgets, finding new ways to integrate technology into our home. One evening, as we sat by the pool watching the sunset, my husband turned to me and said, "You know, I think this turned out better than we could have expected. Sometimes, a little conflict leads to stronger relationships." I nodded, reflecting on the journey we'd been through. From the initial shock of discovering unauthorized pool parties to the awkward confrontations, and finally, to the shared barbecues and renewed friendships, it had been quite the experience.